Welcome to Money Talk with Michael. I'm Michael Eastham, president of Fellowship Financial Group. Money Talk with Michael is our weekly broadcast where we answer your questions about finance, investment, retirement, and all things related to money. Remember to send in your questions to the email listed in the description box below, and you might hear your question answered on the next Money Talk with Michael.
I've heard and read that I-bonds are paying a great rate, but it almost sounds too good to be true. I have some cash and savings earning nothing, and I'm considering them as an option. Can you shed some light on what they are and how they work?
Hello everyone, let's deal with that I-bond question. I've gotten that question quite a bit from clients and radio listeners and people who have called in, so I think it'll be helpful to dig a little bit deeper on this particular one. First of all, let me tell you what I-bonds are designed to do. They're designed to help the investor to keep pace with inflation. They can be a little bit tricky to thoroughly understand, and they sound very enticing today with inflation at a pretty high rate. But the I-bond uses something called a composite rate. It's a rate that's made up of two different pieces. First of all, it's a fixed rate, and that fixed rate is zero, and it has been zero for quite some time. And that rate is not going to change for the entire life of the I-bond. The second piece is the inflation rate. And currently that inflation rate is set at 4.81%. So if you multiply that by 2, that gives you 9.62%. That's annualized. But you have to remember that that rate will reset every 6 months. And that's a key point. It can go up or it can go down. And if inflation, or really when inflation goes back to normal levels, then you may only get about 2% on that bond. Now, that's better than a sharp stick in the eye for a fixed guaranteed investment, but who knows what it's going to look like down the road. Now, the interest is added to your principal every 6 months, so your principal is going to go up a little bit every time they reset that rate, and that can be a good deal. It'll reset based on what inflation is at that time. So if you believe that inflation is going to be super high for a long time, well, it could be a really good investment. The other important thing is that it's guaranteed by the federal government. So you know you're going to get that money. But what are some of the gotchas? There's several of them that you need to be aware of. The first one is that you can only buy $10,000 of I-bonds every year. You can get an additional $5,000 if you request it when you file your tax return. So you could get a total of $15,000 per year each of these I-bonds. But the thing is, you can't take $100,000 that you have sitting in your savings account earning nothing and drop it all into these I-bonds. That's not going to work. The other gotcha is to think about that these are 30-year bonds. Well, actually, they're 20-year bonds with a 10-year extension. So you have to understand that if you redeem those bonds in the first 5 years, then you're going to end up giving up 3 months' worth of interest as a prepayment penalty, so to speak. When it comes to purchasing these bonds, there are really two ways that you can do it. One is you can purchase it at treasurydirect.com. That's the federal government's website for delivering treasury bonds or I-bonds and savings bonds and things like that. The other way, as I just mentioned, is you can ask for them or file for them with your tax return by using Form 8888 to let the IRS know that you want to invest up to $5,000 of your refund to purchase those I-bonds. And they're actually going to mail those paper bonds to you if you do it that way. What about taxes? The good news is that these I-bonds are not taxed at the state or municipal level. They are subject to federal income tax. So that's something you do have to take into consideration. And then also another good piece is that if you use that money for higher education, then you won't pay tax at all. I hope that helps to try and put some teeth on the I-bonds for you. But as always, Give us a call if you have any other questions, and I'll be happy to talk about your situation and see if iBonds may be a good place for some of your money. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in next Monday for another edition of Money Talk with Michael. And don't forget to send in your questions and check out our website at fellowshipfinancial.com and our social media platforms. And if you'd like, you can schedule a 15-minute complimentary call to get your specific questions answered. Everything you need is listed in the description box below.